All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Caroline Smith. I am the new Executive Director of the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, and I am very happy to invite you all to this press conference this morning. We have a lot of speakers lined up this morning. It's going to be a really good press conference, and we have a very, very important trial starting today, the trial of Handy versus the United States. This is a trial of the decade of the pro-life movement. This could be the trial that repeals the FACE Act. This could be the trial that gets justice for the five. This is so important. And I am honored to stand with all of these people behind me and next to me as we work towards getting justice for the unborn. So I'm going to move it along. As we have a lot of speakers today, I would like to introduce our founder, the founder of POW, Cesare Santangelo.
Thank you. My name is Cesare Santangelo. I am the founder of Pro-Life San Francisco. I am the former president of Democrats for Life of America, and I'm the founder of Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. And today, I am here standing in solidarity with the brave activists like Lauren Handy and Herb Garrity, who have been charged under the FACE Act. Herb Garrity, like myself, is an atheist, and he is the first atheist to be indicted under FACE. I am also here to call for the repeal of the FACE Act. The FACE Act was signed into law by President Bill Clinton nearly 29 years ago. And many people don't remember that the FACE Act was passed with bipartisan support. It was widely believed that the FACE Act would be applied equally to those who both opposed and supported abortion. Many pro-lifers believed that the FACE Act would protect pregnancy centers, churches, and pro-lifers. But over the last 29 years, we have seen that the enforcement of the FACE Act has been anything but equal. In fact, since its enactment, 126 pro-life activists have been indicted under the FACE Act, as opposed to 3 pro-abortion activists. Things have only gotten worse under the Biden administration. Since the Dobbs leak last year, 39 churches have been attacked, and 67 pro-life pregnancy centers have been attacked, some violently, with literal fire bombings. And the Biden administration has chosen to indict only 1 pro-abortion activist under the FACE Act. To make matters worse, the Biden administration has shown zero interest in investigating instances of infanticide and partial birth abortion at Cesare Santangelo's late-term abortion center here in Washington, D.C. Cesare Santangelo is known as the Butcher of D.C. And yet instead, the Biden administration has decided to try to incarcerate these activists who acted totally non-violently to try to prevent these federal crimes from happening. In the hands of the Biden administration, the FACE Act is used only to intimidate and harass pro-life people. And as evidenced in the state's claim that the FACE Act is protected by the Commerce Clause, it also serves to protect the bottom line of an industry whose business model relies on killing human beings. The FACE Act cannot be reformed because it is being used as a weapon against us. 11 years in federal prison, whether you're for or against abortion for totally nonviolent activism, is unjust. Full stop. We can protect pregnancy centers and we can protect churches on a community level in a way that FACE never could and never will. The FACE Act must not be used to protect infanticide. And we cannot build a better tomorrow until the FACE Act is fully dismantled and repealed. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lauren Handy. I'm the Director of Activism for the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. I'm also a co-defendant for this trial. And I stand today in solidarity with my fellow rescuers and in solidarity with Cesare Santangelo's infanticide victims. I held those babies in my hands. I held Christopher X, I held Harriet, and I held Phoenix. And I loved them when the world tried to shame and belittle me. Extreme acts of violence must be met with bold acts of love. And that's why I can stand here today with my head held high and without shame, because there is no shame in loving your neighbor as yourself. Justice for the 5.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Valerie Beinog. I'm the legislative strategist for Concerned Women for America, the nation's largest public policy organization for women. I bring you greetings from our CEO and president, Penny Nance, who felt very strongly that we must stand alongside those who, like Lauren and Heather, have been targeted by our government, specifically because they have dedicated their lives to exposing the evil that is abortion. And make no mistake about it, that is precisely why these defendants find themselves facing such excessive penalties. There was a time not too long ago when it would have been unheard of to speak of the politicization of the U.S. Department of Justice. But today, the American people are watching in real time how the Biden-Garland DOJ has unscrupulously targeted its political opponents, especially on the pro-life front. This two-tiered system of justice violates the most fundamental principles of our Constitution and basic justice. And Concerned Women for America members from across the nation are proud to unite our voices in crying against this grave injustice. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Herb Garrity, along with Lauren, Will, Heather, and John. I'm one of the co-defendants in this case. I'm so grateful for the members of the pro-life community who have showed up to show support to rescue and to rescuers, to people across the country who have spoken out and who have shown support. I am unbelievably grateful to see this solidarity from the entire movement. I think that I think that this is scary. I think that this is 11 years in federal prison, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fines for nonviolent, pro-life free speech. That's unbelievable. I think that part of this egregious over-sentencing is what has inspired so many people to be outraged and to call for justice for us. But as we're doing that, I just want to beg of everyone, as you're working and advocating and fighting for justice for these defendants, which I'm so grateful for, never stop fighting for justice for the actual victims. Me and Lauren are not the victims. The victims are Holly, Angel, Christopher X, Phoenix, and Harriet. The victims are all of the thousands of unnamed little boys and girls that have been murdered by Cesare Santangelo. We will not stop fighting, we will not stop rescuing, and we will not stop working for justice. Thank you.
Many of you know Joan Andrews Bell, one of the defendants in the second half of this case. She's not here with us this morning, but I have the honor of introducing the editor of her book, Joan Andrews Prison Letters, and he's going to be reading a quote from her in her place.
Joan wrote this when she was in prison, when she would have been allowed out at any point that she agreed not to rescue. She refused. She refused to cooperate in prison, and they put her in solitary confinement where she was there for 18 months. While there, she wrote the following, which is, I think, immediately applicable to the circumstances we now face with what we call the Garland Nine. She wrote, "The closer we are to the unborn children, the more faithful we are, then the more identically aligned that we become with them. And that is our aim, our goal, to wipe out the line of distinction between the unborn and their born friends, becoming ourselves discriminated against. Good. Why should we be treated any differently? The rougher it gets for us, the more we can rejoice that we are succeeding, because no longer are we being treated like the privileged born, but as the discriminated against unborn. I don't want to be treated any differently than my brother, my sister. You reject them, you reject me," she wrote. "We do not expect justice in the courts. We should in truth tell the court that we, as defenders and friends of the unborn, expect no justice and no compassion, as none was shown to the unborn children that were killed without due process on the day of the rescue attempt. We only stand here, Lauren, Will, Hugh, only stand here in their stead by a compelling and painful logic. They died for the crime of being unborn and unwanted. And so we expect no justice from a judicial system that decrees such savagery, nor from a government that allows it. Because if it is a crime punishable by death to be unwanted, maybe it should be a crime punishable by death to love the unwanted and to seek to protect them." That's it.
Thank you, Richard. It's my honor to introduce Dr. Monica Miller, President of Citizens for a Pro-Life Society.
On June 4th, 1994, our group, Citizens for a Pro-Life Society, rescued unborn children in Milwaukee at the Affiliated Medical Services Abortion Center. We were the first pro-lifers associated with Citizens for a Pro-Life Society to get charged with the hideous and unjust FACE Act that had been signed by Bill Clinton about 2.5 weeks before our rescue. He signed it on May 20th, 1994, and we broke it on June 4th, 1994, 29 years ago. 3 of our rescuers indeed went to federal prison, some of them up to 6 months. Here we are again. Why do we rescue the unborn? Because they deserve it. They deserve someone to say no. If you're going to kill the innocent, you have to go through me first. No matter what happens in this trial, and then the next one that's coming up in September, the most important thing that we do in court is witness to the truth, no matter how much this judge, the prosecutor, are going to try and hide that truth. If you've seen the photos of the 5 unborn children, and by the way, they're only the 5 of 115. 110 have already been buried. But those 5 still languish in a vault at the medical examiner's office months and months after they were given to pro-lifers Teresa and Lauren. We are going to stand in solidarity with them. We have to pray for courage. We have to pray for peace. To go into court and know that you're doing what is right and what is just. And there will be justice, because this is God's world and God is the King of life, and we have to witness to that truth and not be afraid. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kane Spitak. I am the Vice President of Rainbow Pro-Life Alliance, and I am also Herb Garrity's fiance, one of the defendants today. When I first met Herb, I was a no limitations, full-term pro-abortion atheist. And now I am pro-life and still an atheist. I have been so fortunate to see Herb's dedication to nonviolence, his compassion, and most importantly, his love for others. And that has shown me and made me truly believe that we can have one day a world without abortion. But I think something that we all really need to remember as this trial goes on, as undoubtedly more cases are brought before the courts, rescue does not end at the abortion clinic. We need to be here in solidarity with them, in unity with the rescuers, because we are also rescuing by being there and showing our support that we are all in this together. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Will Goodman, one of the defendants on this case, and he is coming to us from Red Rose Rescue.
Thank you all for being here. I join my voice to those who have spoken. Thank you for your solidarity with the victims, those who are without a voice, the innocent children in the womb, the exploited mothers and fathers, and those who are pushed into participation in the abortion industry. We also want to remember those in the government. Deeply entrenched social evils, like the attack on the innocent here, do not happen without the full support and collaboration of the government. We've been charged with FACE and with conspiracy, but the true injustice is that our judge has not allowed for any arguments of constitutional protection for the preborn. This case should be about equal protection for them, due process for them, legal personhood for these little boys and girls. We are charged with conspiracy, but all of us, by standing here, charge this government with the conspiracy of silence against the innocent. There is a conspiracy right now through every form of government, every level of government, to continue this Holocaust against the innocent. We are honored to be witnesses and voices for them. Thank you, too, for being their voice, and I encourage you to continue with your work with courage to stand up against this corruption and this conspiracy of silence. God bless you.
Hello, my name is Kristen Turner, and I am the Director of Community Organizing for the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. Today I'm 22 years old, and that means that I am part of Gen Z. Many generations are defined by a tragedy, by a war, but my generation is defined by resisting an oppressive government, a government that's tried to kill our people, to silence us, to destroy our earth, and destroy our children. My generation is defined by fighting back, and I am continuing that legacy by joining the rescue movement. We are the unborn, and we rescue us. We are equal to them. There is no difference between these children, and they have a right to be rescued by the nature of their existence. It does not matter if the government threatens us with jail time, with ostracization, with torture. They cannot prevent us from rescuing, because rescue is not a person, rescue is not an organization that they can sue, that they can defame. Rescue is a legacy. Rescue is a principle. Rescue is a tactic. And rescue will live forever. Long live rescuers!
Thank you everyone for coming today. The trial will be starting at 9 a.m. inside this building. We will be available for interview for about the next 10 minutes. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.
We are not the criminals. The criminal is Cesare Santangelo. He murders babies in abortion every day. Of course, that's legal here in DC up to the moment before birth. However, there are federal laws that prohibit born alive abortions. When a baby is born alive and you do not provide them medical care as you would any child born early, that is illegal. That is a federal crime. That is murder. This abortionist has admitted on camera that he would do exactly that. He would let a child be born alive and die without medical care. That is murder. That is a crime. The government has that information. That was in our discovery that the government provided to us. This judge has ruled that that evidence can't come in. She is actively covering up federal crimes while prosecuting us for nonviolent pro-life free speech activity.
If you are found guilty, you face more than 10 years in federal prison. How does that emotionally make you feel?
It's scary. I'm 27. I'm engaged. I would really prefer to get to have a wedding and not be in federal prison for the next 11 years. But ultimately, when I think about it, I'm reminded that regardless of what the government does to me, I am not the victim here. The victims are these infants and unborn children being murdered by Santangelo and by abortionists across the district and across the country.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Herb, what do you intend to sort of tell the jury with all of the kind of arguments and evidence that the judge was disincluding? What do you intend to even argue?
So we'll see. We have excellent attorneys who are working very hard to try to make as true of a case as we can. I mean, the truth here is that Cesare Santangelo is killing babies both before they are born and likely after, according to his own statements and evidence of his victims. That information, I think, is incredibly relevant. You know, if a child is drowning in a pool and you need to trespass in order to save the life of that child, that's not a crime. You should not be charged for trespassing in that case, and you certainly shouldn't be charged with this trumped up federal charges for 11 years in federal prison. To be clear, the crime they're accusing me of is being in a building that they didn't want me to be in. That is not violence. It is not discrimination. It is not a conspiracy to deny rights. The conspiracy to deny rights is what Cesare Santangelo, his staff, and the DC government are doing to deny the right to life of these children.
I heard some discussion of that this trial could be the end of the FACE Act.
Yeah.
That would mean being convicted and appealing, right?
Yeah, and I'm ready to do that if necessary. I'm very hopeful that the jury, despite basically these gag orders from the judge not allowing us to tell the truth about why we were there and what happens in that clinic, I'm hopeful that they'll be able to see through some of that and hear some of the truth. And I hope that it pricks their conscience. I know that if I was on a jury, I'd quit, but I don't think I'd get called for this jury or any other. And so I'm hopeful that it just takes one person to see what's happening here and see the truth and make the right decision. And so maybe we'll get acquitted, but I'm not super hopeful with a DC jury, with a judge who has already done all of these rulings against us, that we're going to get a fair trial. Rescuers typically don't, as do many people in the federal system. And so we're gonna keep going until either we get these charges dropped, acquitted, or the FACE Act itself is entirely repealed.
During the events in question themselves, did you believe that you could be charged under the FACE Act?
No, I didn't.
You were looking at?
I did not. No, I did not ever obstruct or interfere or intimidate anyone from seeking an abortion. That it just didn't happen. The government is alleging that I did. I didn't. But what's more important is that even if I did, because some of these defendants don't deny that they were chained in there to prevent the killing. Even if I did, the people who did, they were right to do what they did. Abortion is a violent act against an unborn child. In this case, we have reason to believe that it is not just the killing of unborn children, but of children born alive after a failed abortion. And to be clear, the only reason that that can happen in this abortion clinic is because this abortionist specializes in killing babies after the point of viability, when they are old enough to survive outside the womb, on healthy mothers, on healthy babies. That is his specialty. That is what he charges thousands of dollars to desperate women and families for. That is what he does. He does not use a feticide, which would stop the heart of the unborn child before delivering them or dismembering them alive. And so we know that children can be born alive in this abortion clinic. We know that he has said that if a child were to be born alive, he would not provide them medical care, which is what is the law. And so we have serious concerns about federal laws and murder that is happening here, laws that are being violated at this clinic that are not being investigated. It's completely ridiculous that we are the ones that the government is coming after, and not this man, an abortionist, late-term abortionist throughout the country who are committing these egregious acts against literal human babies.
The judge in this case, Judge Colleen Collar-Cotley, has refused to call Santangelo to testify or to allow the defendants to show the jury any photos of the aborted children.